All right, guys, welcome back. I am so excited to bring on a fabulous personality woman, Gigi Eats. And her and I, we've met one other time before, but she is just, not only are you guys going to learn a lot from her in terms of like why she loves salmon so much, but her personality is just magnetic and so amazing. So Gigi, welcome to the podcast.
Well, hello. Yes, everybody. I love salmon. I'm just going to throw that out there first thing. I'm obsessed.
Is that like your thing? Is like just salmon? You love salmon?
Yeah, I'm known for being
tumblers,
the salmon queen. I eat salmon every single day, legitimately crave it every second. And people are like, do you ever get sick of that? Like, how are you not sick of that? Even my husband looks at me like I'm a crazy person. And I'm like, I can't, like, I don't know what it is. The second I'm done eating it, I'm like, I want more. Wednesday.
And honestly,
really?
Yeah. When you follow Gigi on her social media, Gigi, do you want to tell your handle and we'll also put it down on your lower third?
Yeah, it's Gigi Eats because, you know, that's what I do.
And her entire Instagram is just like the most delicious, luscious, juicy salmon that you've ever seen. Like I look at her page and my mouth waters. I'm like, this is just magnificent. But Gigi, speaking of you being the salmon queen, so I'm so disappointed that it didn't show up in time for the podcast, but you have your very own, I wish I had one like it, 30-ounce salmon colored tumbler coming that says Salmon Queen on it.
Oh, stop it. Oh, I'm really excited for that. And I'm going to put some salmon in it. It'll be a fillet. Don't worry. I'm not going to like puree it up or anything. And I'll just like whip out a piece of salmon. It'll be like Mary Poppins bag, but in like a tumbler cup. And it'll just be salmon, never ending salmon.
That's amazing.
That would be
so
pretty great.
amazing.
If you could make that happen, that'd be great.
That would be so great. I can't wait because a lot of people just put alcohol in there, but when you pull out a piece of salmon from your tumbler, that's like next level, and I think that that's fabulous.
Yes. Yeah, I don't drink.
So explain the whole salmon thing. Like.
Okay, this is.
I don't even know what question to ask. I'm just so curious.
It's really funny that you say that because I guess between you two and your viewers or listeners, whatever, I decided that I am writing a book about salmon, and I just wrote an introduction as to like why I'm obsessed with it. But I mean, what's really interesting is back in the day, maybe when I was like 8 years old, my mom cooked salmon and she was like going to serve it for us for dinner. And I ran away from home because I was like, bitch, I don't want salmon. I hate salmon. That's disgusting. So I ran away from home. I was hiding in the bushes. This was in like New Mexico because they live there part-time. And I remember hearing my mom and my siblings like call out the window, Gigi, where are you, Gigi? And I was just in the bushes like, you're never gonna find me. I don't really remember what happened after that, but what really propelled me to find this obsession or love for salmon is I was diagnosed with a bunch of food allergies and autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. So I really had to restrict my diet. So like so long fish sticks and burgers and, you know, ice cream and all that kind of stuff. And I had to adopt a lot healthier of a food lifestyle. And that obviously included salmon and other fish and, you know, grass-fed and finished beef and stuff like that. And I realized, you know, there are many different types of salmon. So if you don't like salmon, it might be because it's the wild caught salmon that, you know, is proclaimed to be healthier and all that kind of stuff. But these days the waters are just all tainted. And if you buy my book that I'm going to write, it'll document and tell you all about, you know, what's going on with the water and all that jazz. But anyway, I personally love Atlantic salmon. Now, I only love Atlantic salmon from specific places because I've done research as to how they raise them, what they're feeding them, and all that kind of stuff. And also that they're not a threat to the wild salmon environment because that's another huge problem as well. But anyway, Atlantic salmon or farm-raised salmon is the tastiest thing ever because it's super fatty. Wild salmon is this dry crap that you will literally overcook it if you cook it for more than like 10 minutes. But with Atlantic salmon, you can cook that shit forever and it'll still be juicy. Like I have this method in the air fryer. People call it the Giga Method, where I cook it for 28 minutes at 400 degrees. It's like this foolproof method, but
That's
you have
the longest time to cook salmon.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's such a long time. You're going to kill it. I'm like, well, first of all, it's already dead. But the thing is, the thing that you have to do is you have to watch the video I made, and you actually have to listen to it, because I say use Atlantic salmon. So many people are like, okay, I'm going to do your method of 428 degrees, and I'm going to just use this piece of salmon that's in my freezer. Yeah, it's probably wild caught garbage from Trader Joe's or some shit like that, and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So whenever people are like, it didn't work, I'm like, did you listen to my video? Did you listen? I'm going to be a bitch about it, because I literally say you need to listen to it. But I'll be the bitch in the nicest way possible. Because
I love you, Gigi. I love you.
Thank you. But then people actually listen and they redo it and they're like, oh shit.
Game changer.
No, legit, everyone's like game changer. Huge game changer.
Yeah.
I am never, ever going to cook salmon another way, and I'm always going to get the sustainably raised and, fed correct thing, that's a weird way to say it, but we're fed good things, farm-raised salmon. Like, I wouldn't suggest you just go to your local Kroger and get the farm-caught salmon there, because they don't really give a shit what they're selling you. They're just trying to sell it to you.
Yeah, no.
But like,
it's injected with pink dye, like right on there.
Yeah, and you know, at least with Whole Foods, I always recommend Whole Foods Atlantic salmon, because I have done so much research. I've spoken to them, like I've spoken to corporate about their salmon, because I eat it so much. I'm like, gotta make sure I'm not gonna die. That being said, if anyone is to die of salmon overdose, it'll be me. I've just done a lot of research, and these days, the great part is, since I'm known for being this salmon queen on Instagram and stuff, all of these salmon companies have reached out to me, and they're all like Atlantic salmon, and I've done a lot of research on theirs, and they're all insanely delicious. So now I don't just recommend Atlantic salmon from Whole Foods, but I have these websites that I also recommend, just because, some people don't live near Whole Foods. And they're like, what's the next best thing? I'm like, well, this company just delivers it to your door in like a day and a half. So there you go.
That's awesome. It's really cool. Now, I know that there's a lot of different ways you can cook salmon, whatever. What is your favorite, like, seasoning? Or do you not season? Like, what is your...
That's another thing. I don't put anything on it. I put it in the...
Really?
Yeah, I put it in the air fryer tray thing with tinfoil. I spray it with nonstick spray, put the salmon down, spray it a little bit more on top, because I psychologically believe that spray on top is going to give it a little bit more crust. And I put it in the air fryer, 428. And then when it comes out, I'll pair it with like spinach and other leafy greens, because I like when the salmon heat wilts the greens. And also I'll mix the salmon oil and fat with the greens, because it's delicious, my personal opinion. Like, I drink that stuff. And then I just use salt. I'm obsessed with salt. Obsessed. Like, I use Redmond real salt. It's like the best, most pure salt ever, and really just brings out the flavor of any food that I'm eating, because believe it or not, I do eat other things aside from salmon. And that's it. I don't like putting garlic and thyme and oregano and blah, 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 blah on my stuff. That being said, like, I'll go out to a restaurant and they'll do it, and I'll be like, oh, that's great. But like, blackened seasoning, get the fuck out of my face. Excuse my French, but it's true. Because I like to taste the food I'm eating. If you have to have a lot of seasonings and sauces on the food that you're eating, that means that food is not fresh and not tasty. Like, that's my personal opinion.
Oh, so you were just saying that obviously you eat other things other than salmon. And when I met you, God, what was it? 3 years ago now, you brought myself and a friend, a sample of this chocolate. This keto, right? Keto friendly chocolate that you were testing. And I hear there's some news involving that too. So tell me about your chocolate and what's been going on with that. Yeah. So, about, I want to say January 2019, back when life was way better. Anyways, back then I was
connected with this company called The Good Chocolate. They had sent me some in 2018, and I had tested it. And I'm not going to lie, I don't like chocolate. I am not a chocolate fan. I love vanilla.
I understand the words that keep coming out of your mouth.
I know.
I
know. I'm a very weird person. I apologize, although I'm not sorry at the same time. But anyway, so I don't like chocolate at all, but they sent me chocolate because it was sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. It's sweetened with erythritol, a sweetener that I really like, that my body actually like is okay with, and some stevia, which people are like, ooh, stevia's gross, but they don't put that much in there to make it taste funny. And I tasted it, and I was like, wow, for someone who doesn't like chocolate, this is damn good. So I let them know, and we did a giveaway together on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And I guess they just really liked my personality because I'm just, I just don't have a filter or something. And in January, we decided to do this live Instagram chat where we just interviewed each other. So I interviewed them about like how they started their brand and what the message is behind it. And they asked me things about myself. And then at the end of this interview, they announced to everyone who was watching saying that we were going to collaborate and create the Gigi chocolate. And I was like, oh, hot damn, didn't know that was coming, but cool. Love that idea because I have so many ideas. Like if I'm going to eat chocolate, it's going to be milk chocolate, even though I can't have dairy. And it's going to be sweet, and it's not going to taste like chocolate. So I had all of these amazing ideas. Like I was like, birthday cake chocolate sounds great. And they're like, sorry, no, because they have so many standards in regards to what ingredients go into their chocolate. Like they're very, very, very high quality. It's bean to bar type of thing. It's not, there's no crappy fillers. And like, I think there are 5 ingredients or maybe 6 ingredients in the personal chocolate that we created together. And so we went through this whole like trial phase of like sugar-free sprinkles because of that birthday cake thing. And then I wanted like an extra crunch and I wanted it to be sweeter. And we created a vegan milk. So they use coconut milk in it to make it creamy and make it milk. And so we created it. It's called the Double Crunch Vegan Milk Bar. So there are 2 different crunches in it. The first one is cocoa nibs. And the second one is what we call a crispy crystal. So instead of using sprinkles to make this like a birthday cake type of thing, which honestly, they didn't lend any flavor whatsoever. It was just kind of an aesthetic thing. But they turned out being really expensive. So we were like, okay, that's not going to work. So we created a recipe for a sprinkle. And initially it was egg whites and erythritol, the sweetener that I like. It's like a no caloric sweetener. It doesn't raise your blood sugar levels. It's actually pretty good for you. Now, some people, it might cause some like digestive distress, but it doesn't for me, so yippee. So anyway, we initially had it with egg whites and the erythritol, but then we were like, well, if it's vegan milk, we want to make this entire bar vegan. So instead of the egg whites, we use something called aquafaba, which is the liquid from chickpeas. And we mixed the 2 together, and basically aquafaba sort of mimics what egg whites do. So we created this crystallized thing. I need to like run and get this chocolate bar to show you the crystals. But anyway, that's the second crunch in it. And people, when they eat it, they associate it with tasting like a crunch bar.
Yeah,
so it's like
when I tasted it, that's exactly how it felt. It felt like almost like a
rice crispy type of thing.
But it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
But it's like this pop of sweet flavor in your mouth. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I eat this chocolate bar, I like specifically look for the crispy crystals because I just want to like eat those.
Yeah.
And even my son loves it. The other day I was sitting on the floor with him. He's 2, almost 2. And he went into the pantry, grabbed a chocolate bar, and started ripping it open and like wolfing it. I'm like, oh, this is the first time you've ever had this, and you seem to love it. Good. So we created that chocolate. It came out in 2019 in like October, and it's been their best seller since then, which is pretty awesome. And then yesterday it was just announced that they won bronze. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Isn't it like first is the worst, second second is the best, but third is like with a hairy chest? Well, whatever. We got a hairy chest.
or It's like third is the one with the golden chest.
Oh, there you go. Hairy chest, golden chest, whatever.
Treasure chest. Yeah.
So, but 3 is my favorite number, so we're gonna go with that.
There you go.
So they won this bar specifically won the bronze in this like international vegan chocolate thing.
Amazing.
I don't really know exactly what it was, but it's pretty cool. So
That's very cool.
yippee!
I feel like that's like the perfect gift. I'm seeing it right now. You have like your tumbler, and then you have a bunch of like the Gigi's chocolate in it, and you can like put a nice little bow on it, and like what a perfect Christmas gift for somebody. A tumbler and the chocolate.
Yeah, and then also it's super
the salmon in there.
Yeah,
For
right?
me.
Throw a little like salmon jerky up in that business. Oh, but here's something really funny. So the good chocolate like kind of played a prank on me. However, I knew it was coming. But like when we were initially talking about creating this chocolate, I'm like, oh my God, we need to do salmon chocolate, obviously. Cause that's just me. And they're like, yeah, okay, no. But thanks. Maybe we'll make you a bar specifically. So anyway, for my birthday this past year, they sent me their chocolate with salmon in it. Like, oh gosh, do I have a phone? Oh, sorry, I have to decline that call. It was my husband.
Okay.
Anyway, so there was a chocolate with salmon in it. And yeah.
Good. Did you guys fly to when you moved, or did you drive?
No. So we drove because we had a lot of stuff that we wanted to put in our cars. Mm-hmm. And we drove, well, no, actually my husband flew our son to my parents in Las Vegas and then flew back. That was a disaster. So then my son stayed with my mom for like 2 weeks as we moved here and unpacked and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was a godsend. So yeah, we drove, but now we'll fly and stuff like that because that's what he's getting checked out. So then he can rent planes and we can go places. But you don't want to see me on an airplane sometimes with him because farts, like, ooh, I cried when we flew from LA to Las Vegas because it was really hot outside. And when it's really hot, there's a lot of turbulence. And turbulence for me, I'm like, ah! Yeah, I mean, it freaks him. It doesn't freak him out, but it makes him uncomfortable. And so he is all tense and shit. And then,
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't like to fly either, but so are you, when you say fly, are you guys like he's like flying this private small jet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd rather be in a 747 because you absorb less of the turbulence. And I also like to see like stewardesses and stuff walk by, and if they're not freaking out, then I shouldn't be freaking out.
Exactly.
Granted, my husband, like when you fly in one of these little planes, you wear a headset. You can hear traffic control. They're not, freaking out or saying like, "Oh, no, Mayday, Mayday," or whatever the hell they say. And my husband's not freaking out. So like, why am I?
Right.
So.
No, I get it. It's scary though. It's very scary.
Yeah.
Well, Gigi, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I know it was just a touch of all the wonderful things that you do, but I'm so excited for you to get your tumbler later today.
I know.
What you think of it. Oh my
Don't
God,
worry.
so
I'm going to make Instagram story of me opening it and revealing it to everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Like
I'm very excited.
White.
You're going to love it. You're going to love it. And we appreciate your time. And again, go follow Gigi on Instagram at Gigi, Gigi Eats. Hilarious. And you're going to want salmon every day, single day too, just because she just makes it look so delicious.
Well, I mean, not to butter me up or anything.
All right. Well, thanks, girl. We appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me.